And I do feel that however little I'm making, it's made kind of honestly and properly. And I'm not making it from crypto or something like that. Is that it? Perfect. Thank you. So yeah. Is this like the worst job in the world? I'd watched a few YouTube videos which were claiming that. No, it isn't. I'll tell you why. Just let me finish this delivery first and then I'll explain. Alright, mate. Which way are you for Real Burger? Yes. Perfect. There you go, buddy. Have you got your code?
Yeah, 43.
43, thank you. Cheers, mate. Have a good one. So yeah, I've watched a few videos recently. A few have popped up in my feed of people talking about why they hate this job and why it's the worst job ever and things like that, which, you know, I kind of understand in some ways. I mean, it makes good YouTube content for a start. You know, the usual stuff comes up. Why this sucks, you know, these jobs suck. It's obviously the pay can be pretty appalling. The lack of any kind of benefits, there's no pension, there's no sick pay, no real support in the job, you don't have a manager, you're at the kind of mercy of a faceless corporate technocracy, whatever they want to call these people who own the apps like Deliveroo and Uber Eats and Just Eat. And again, you know, I wouldn't argue with any of these points, they're all valid. But I think the people who are writing this about the job are not the kind of people who this job is for, I don't think. And I think the job appeals to certain types of people. And it's not just about how many pounds you earn per hour. And obviously that's a key thing. So let's sort of take a few of these points one by one. Let's start with the reasons why it sucks, because there are some things that really do suck about this job. And let's start with the obvious one, and that's the pay. It's really difficult to pin down exactly how much you get paid in this job, just because there are like a million factors that can change how much you earn in an hour. Obviously, the first thing is you are utterly at the mercy of the algorithm and the apps actually offering up deliveries for you, and you don't know if and when you're going to get those. And as we're talking about this, I'm getting orders through, and you can see I'm not taking all of them. Some of them I'm rejecting because they're not good enough in terms of the pay. Obviously, one of the big factors is how many of the apps you're actually signed up and registered for. You know, there's Deliveroo, Just Eat, Uber Eats, Gopher, Hungry Panda, Fantuan. There's a whole range of them you can sign up for. And the more you're on, the better chances you have of getting orders. So that can increase how much you get in an hour. And you can be more selective. You can say, okay, well, you know, the Uber Eats order was crappy, but I'll take that Deliveroo order instead because that's paying better, or I'll take that Just Eat one. Whether you're on a bike, in a car, on a moped, it's going to affect things as well because there's a kind of a range issue. Obviously, some of these deliveries want you to go quite far, 3-4 more miles. That's tricky on a bike. All right, I've got another order coming in, but I will chat. See, that one was a £7 order, which is probably going 3 to 4 miles. So, and that's probably going to take me, I don't know, 15-20 minutes all told. Let's see how that works out. This is a kind of a good test of how much we can get paid, and also how different orders are better than others. This one I felt was a decent one. I mean, I might have made a mistake, but we'll see. One of my fellow riders, I'm pretty sure. He's going for the stoic sort of Terminator look. A few of them do that. Refuse to speak to anyone, nod to anyone. I mean, it's a choice. All right, mate. How are you? 9047. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I had to wait. Cheers. Come through, come through.
Thank you very much, sir.
That one. Cheers. No, no, not at all. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is kind of a nice way of giving an idea about how much you can earn doing this job. So I've been out 35 minutes, I'm going to say, and in about the first 20-25 minutes I earned £7, and then this job is paying another £7, so it brings us up to about £14, and this probably be done in another like 15 minutes. So after about 45-50 minutes I would have earned £14, which is not unusual on a, you know, whatever it is today. Just trying to remember, it's a Wednesday evening, so yeah, somewhere between sort of £14 to £20 is reasonable of an evening. Obviously then it's up to you how long you stay out, but you know, at certain times you're going to get more orders, certain times you're going to get less. Anytime after about 5 o'clock you're likely to have a decent number of orders. That's probably going to last until 10-11 at night, and then, you know, you might feel some sort of diminishing returns after that, although you might sort of catch also the late night sort of drunk coming home crowd at that point as well, so there may be more on offer there, and given that there may be fewer drivers out, might be to your benefit. So it's all, like I said, it's all dependent on factors. It's dependent on time of day, type of transport, how long you're going to stay out for, probably where you are as well. Certain cities, towns may have more restaurants to deliver from, but also there may be more delivery drivers out and about as well. So there's a whole sort of range of factors that may determine how much you're going to earn. So saying that the money sucks, it's a bit of a broad statement. Is it phenomenally good? No. If you're smart, you can stay reasonably above minimum wage. But like I said, if I had to average out, I'm going to say £13 to £15 an hour. And of course you may hear that and think, well, that is shite. And I wouldn't disagree with you on some levels. A lot of jobs, most jobs pay better than this. So the next question then is, well, why would anyone do this? I do have some answers for that. I mean, because I'm doing it myself. And it's worth explaining, you know, how I started. I started doing this as really a second job. I worked at a university in the UK, had a really decent job, but financial necessity, things to pay off, kids going to university, wanted to get a little bit of extra money for a few things, so I just started doing this a few evenings a week, a couple of times at the weekend, just to dash a bit of extra beer money away. And I think on that level it does actually work pretty well. And I think from my perspective as well, being someone who worked in an office all day, doing something like this was such a change. I think it must be here. All right, mate. Is this for Zap Thai?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Have you got your code?
86.
86. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. It'll be fine. Thank you. And for someone who spent most of his working life in some kind of office, classroom, there's something to be said for getting out and, touching grass, as the kids say, I believe. Because it can become a very insular, sort of bubble type existence. And it really has helped me see, you know, a very different side of life, of my city and people. What I've learned is that most people are pretty bloody decent. You know, I think when I started, I think I was afraid of going into some of the rougher parts of the city, classic kind of middle class anxieties. But no, that's not to say it may not happen in the future, but in most cases, just giving people their food, and that's all they want. And most people understand why you're there. They're not there to kind of harass you and cause you problems. Yeah, there's been a couple of kind of kids who've thrown a few things at me and stuff, but could hardly say it was with any great intent. And that's the other thing about this job. You do see life in all of its manifestations, especially if you do it at all different times of day. You get to meet, you know, pretty interesting bunch of folk, you know, and it's good for you. It's good to get out. It's good to see different stratas of society. It's good to explore different bits of your city. You know, I've delivered to the sort of the poorest social housing in the city with sort of, you know, broken windows and boarded up doors, and I've delivered to, you know, virtual mansions with, you know, massive security gates and sweeping driveways, and, you know, people who have wealth that I could barely even imagine. And seeing those extremes does help you, you know, kind of put your own life in some sort of perspective. But it's good to be faced with this. It's good for your mental fortitude. It's good for your soul. All right, mate, how are you? Yeah, not too bad. There you go, sir. Have a great evening. Have you got your code?
Yeah, 76.
76. Thank you so much. That's fine. Bye-bye. Bye. Never been to the Proud Potato. Like I said, it's another thing you do is you learn a hell of a lot about your city. I mean, particularly the cafes and restaurants. And which ones are good and which ones are bad. Because you do quite often get a very good close-up look at the work in the kitchens and hygiene and all things like that. Alright, mate. How are you? Is that 8799? Perfect. Okay. No, doesn't like your writing. Thank you, sir. Have a good evening. Bye-bye. Now, how feasible is this job as something you can do full-time? That's another issue, really. Obviously, it depends on how much you need to earn, but I would suggest it probably works best in conjunction with another job, particularly if it's a job that allows you some sort of flexible hours. Because when you do the kind of calculations and run the numbers a bit, you know, if you did sort of work a full day, let's say 8 to 10 hours or something like that, you're probably looking at 100 odd quid, 100 to 120 a day, I would suggest. I mean, it's difficult to estimate that, of course. You do that 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 600-700 quid tops. So, you know, it's not impossible for it to be a full-time job, but it's going to be 8 to 10 hours a day is a lot doing this job, I feel. It's pretty exhausting, either cycling, riding, or driving around. I know people assume it's a kind of a slightly mindless job, but it's a kind of a constant wear on the body and the brain as you drive around the city, trying to work out where you are, where you got to park. You know, I'm currently doing this. I don't have a full-time job at the moment. I recently took voluntary redundancy from my work, and so this is my main source of income at the moment. but I got a bit of money to kind of fall back on from the redundancy. So I'm just doing this at the moment just to sort of keep things topped up a little bit, and I do about 4 to 5 hours a day. I probably pull in about £60 a day maximum, which again, you know, it's not going to pay off your mortgage or let you retire early or anything like that. But if you've got some other work going on or some other investments going on, then, you know, it's not bad. And there's a certain honesty about this job, which you don't get in a lot of jobs. You know, even when I worked at the university, you know, I liked my work, I enjoyed my work. Did my work always have a huge impact on anyone? Tough to say. I think one of the reasons I left was that I began to feel that my job was falling under the, you know, rather dubious bullshit job category. One of those jobs where, you know, it would take some explaining to other people what you do and why you do it and why it's useful. And I think when you begin to feel that, then you have to make a decision whether you're happy with that and you're willing to just suck that up for the sake of a decent salary and a decent pension and all of those things, or whether you feel it's time to move on, try something different, find something you genuinely enjoy doing. Because I was finding that those 8 hours I was spending at work, or often at home because working remotely a lot of the time, it was just mindless. It was just numbing my brain into mush. I could barely focus on anything for more than about 10 minutes, because then there's another email or another message coming through about something which was not massively important, but which everyone believed to be the most important thing in the history of the world. You can sense I was quite cynical, and I think that was a good reason why I needed to leave. 4-4. Thank you. Have you got it? That was a bit weird. The guy kind of was, I could see him stood waiting for me in the house, staring through the stained glass window as I was getting stuff out of the bag. And then he sort of barely opened the door for me, told me the number, the code. And then once he closed the door, he stood there again, watching me through the stained glass window until I left. I mean, there may have been some sort of neurodivergence there, or he just just very suspicious of delivery drivers. One of those. So this has been a bit of a rant. I do appreciate that. But I kind of got a bit annoyed by some of these videos I'd seen of people saying that this job sucks and blah, blah, blah. I mean, all jobs suck. You know, by definition. A job is something you have to do. And there's no job where for, you know, however many hours a day you do it, you're happy all the time. And this job is obviously no different either. There are many other jobs I would prefer not to be doing than this one. Like I said, there is a clarity and an honesty to the job which you don't get with certain positions. And I do feel that however little I'm making, it's made kind of honestly and properly. And I'm not making it from crypto or something like that. Interesting parking there. Ooh. Where's this going? Okay. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to turn around and take this. Hi there, it's just that one. Okay, no problem.
It will be like a 3-minute.
Okay, no problem.
Pack it too.
Okay, thank you. Hello.
299.
Yeah, just give us a second. Yeah, that's perfect.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Bye bye.
You're right.
All right, mate.
I can find this one.
What is it called?
Rocco.
Ah, it's just there. That one just there, yeah. The one with the door, the woman coming out there. Thanks, mate. Hello. This is from Roku, yes? Just give me 1 second. There you go. Have you got your code? 79. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Bye bye. It's okay, that's it.